This is Jed Distler, and welcome to The Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings. I want to talk about a fascinating Slovakian composer, Jan Levoslav Bela, who lived from 1843 until 1936, quite a long life. In addition to being a composer, he also was a violinist, a pianist, an organist, and a conductor. He was ordained as a priest in 1866, and not surprisingly, perhaps, he composed lots of sacred music and works for solo voice and choir. When he left the priesthood in 1881, he became the Kapellmeister in the city of Sibiu, which is now in Romania. The city also was known as Hermannstadt, probably on account of its large German population. After retiring in 1921, he moved to Vienna, where he died, and Vienna also was the place where he had pursued his earlier studies. Bela had personal links to many notable composers of his day, including Brahms and Liszt and Dohnányi and Richard Strauss. Back in 1994, the Marco Polo label issued a disc of Bela's piano works with the pianist Daniela Roma. And the music is very well crafted and serious in purpose, and I'd say superficially that it represents a fusion of, let's say, Franz Liszt's unbridled virtuosity and Johannes Brahms' structural rigor. And that's especially true about Bela's four-movement sonata in B-flat minor from 1882, a work that he revised in 1889. It's this first 1882 version that we hear on this Marco Polo disc. And a good place to demonstrate what I mean is in the third movement scherzo, where there's a lot of harmonic ambiguity, but there are also the kinds of rhythmic dislocations that Brahms was so fond of, and busy counterpoint as well. But the climaxes are powerfully Lisztian in terms of breadth and the rhetoric of the writing. In fact, all four movements of this sonata have a lot to offer, and so do the other works on this disc, which contains two movements from an unfinished piano sonata, two small variation sets, a sonatina that's really a sonata in disguise, and four delightful little character pieces. The Slovakian pianist Daniela Russo first came to international attention as a participant in the 1969 Leeds competition. I have to admit that I don't know very much about her, apart from the fact that she did record a very good cycle of the Mendelssohn Songs Without Words for the Amadis label, which was a super budget label among the Naxos family of labels. But she brings to Jan Levoslav Bela's works a strong technical command and a fine sense of style. I actually found my copy of this disc in a charity shop for something like 99 cents many years ago, and I kept it in my collection and pulled it down again, and I thought I would talk about it. You can download it or stream it as well. But I have to tell you that when I was preparing this podcast, I started looking for other recordings of this music, and I discovered a more recent release on the Pavlik label featuring pianist Peter Pazicki in all of Bela's piano works. And his disc includes a few selections not on the Marco Polo release, as well as an excellent performance of the four-movement piano sonata in its later revised version that I was talking about. I think the later version is tighter overall, and probably it's more pianistically manageable. And Peter Pazicki's recording benefits from superior sonics, and I think he's somewhat more of a supple interpreter. So originally I was going to recommend Daniela Russo on Marco Polo, and I still do. but also try to find the Peter Pazicki release on the Pavlik label. Both are really excellent. But what's really important is that you get to know the piano music of Jan Levoslav Bela, especially the piano sonata, in either the 1882 or 1889 versions. This is Jed Disler, and thank you so much for tuning into the Piano Maven and for all of your support. Please tell your fellow piano lovers about this podcast.